No toinen Gigi kosa tai no toinen Gigi kosa tai diagnostas nie są seitsemän Gigi kosa. Minä nostan satausta matsia sua pehtu mun magnu nihtonan. Ja me kei sua pehtu mudistin kauntu toimit. Ja koimme tuhtina jakoji koet, mutta mitä kan munan kamet. Was siitä te peosin tuot ma on keksun kastehtaksun muskates. Amen.
We rock and roll. Do you have this? Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. We just wanted to go over the Naskapi Water Action Plan. If you remember, I was here back in September of last year to discuss like what the priorities were for the nation, and the one thing that came up was safeguarding the drinking water source was one of the highest priority for the nation.
Okay, no samo na po wajak. And studios discussed. Ako mas tiya do teman zwa. Naskapi Water Action Plan ito. Go. Chikas teman sa nation. Is na ayo sa chika ba. Chi to song to it. Chi nagato ito kuno da. Sinabi mo no. Wag ito kuno ah. Kamag sa kaya na utawas ka. Sa chika ba miyo akamoy sinas. Ko sa chi kenda namas atat. Maghanagos namas. Ko chakap into kanan dyan no so. Chito hanan daw. Mas na kumjito. Ang kaya to ito mo. Jito tanan ni wipetjuas kadaga jito sanyo. Sinay hanan ni wa sagiganyo. Sito sinabas anagadetas. Wangan swimmer nagadeta no. So sigiba na heganos. So we build the song that at least one job. At least one job is gonna one job is gonna come out. Ne big one to songs we build the G. Sagigan nagadeta kamang shibisa. I'm gonna host to go.
Yeah, the reason the drinking water source was super important, we heard from the elders that when Niskapis were first forced to move here, they settled in Shefferville and they settled on the lake. When they were drinking the water, some of the people were getting sick, and it turns out that's the water where the raw water was coming in from the city. And when they moved to Kawa, when they settled here, from Shefferville, from on the other side. So yeah, the water wasn't treated. So when they settled here, first they were on the well. Now the Peter Lake is the source for the water, and we are very lucky that it is a very good source, and we have a lot of clean drinking water. So we want to make sure that we protect that water.
Okay, ang ganyan abet sa sabotabi tayo. We pitch you. Dagapia kabat makus kamak Lake John. My toes are masago muna bi. We pitch. Okay. Okay, they used to he was discussing. There used to water used to be transported long ago in Lake John, and they used to fetch they get the water with pails at a river and near Lake John. Lake John, on foot with pails. Go, Budabego. Microphone after that.
Even today, I still go haul my water there. I don't drink this water. There's too much chemicals. Last week, my son got sick. So during this cold week there, I couldn't hot water because the road was covered with snow. But the when we talk about, you mentioned Peter Lake, that comes from way out that way, and Joyce Lake is going to do damage because it's going to go through there. And once there's damage, then you look at our food, fish. Then you look at plant life, medicines underwater, animals, uh, drinking water, and it comes through here. Another thing to protect that um, Peter Lake, I witnessed twice already, twice, three times, that they put calcium in those culvert pipes along the highway to thaw out the ice. And it goes through that lake and it goes into our drinking water. And then that's how can only one person take care of that? You might need two, three people. And if we look at rivers, it's not just one river. It's going to be really, really heavy workload that person will have.
Those are really good points.
Okay, wait, hold on. Niya yung si kwa si taham wan tawachibis tu taibano. Jadi nasagwa tu tagnosyo. Natin na sa ebes kui manjo na kisimaw na gus niya kui buko na ijo jahas. Ang una niya ebes chow siya yuhta na tagachigay sita sa. Ang una ti sikus na taguptas pada sihubas. Kwa gu biya ti sikus uta pada sihubas uta wachibnya hanabi. No tamada sige yuwa naman sa sige yuhta ya bet iyo dohonio kenda i bijimio atuknis kaya tambago sa tukno asinda bisi dohon. No tumne sige bet sige yuhta kenda wasi siya bet stat niya yo. Aku dia bet sige yuwa gnod. Kaya medyo jimo ka pay ka chito to wibija to sound. Tui misa di senji ko han kaya memo pay ka sibis sa joy nagto itagnos. Misa nanda dawa sibiji sibis aku niya bet joy miuji tabat agnos. Kiba misada kan to sound ya ispita itago ni astaha chuya yo. Kwango na ni joy na smiuji da batagnos.
Nagai pego daw. Tagazgaz kuspnan. Dosano. Tano mastido tos na piao ya. Skam pego yo gahan. Windows dani hanas da tos mijados. No kamuna wi na bin daw da kwabjano da sa kegnis daw. Ngunagai was to kuchakwande wi pesong os bazmania zbi mitta muasto da ganande. Nagai. Neandas igen nagazgaz. Kupunay sa ano wala ni kwabjano. Kuchakwande kamni wi na iba agda nut tamas kuchakwande ya pasut kunin daw sa kegnis daw. Sa kamni ko daw sa haus no daw. Kuchakwande wi pesong jos banya na bibita wasto da ganande. 네. 네.
They did a study on that, eh? That you have to boil water. The year now. There was a big sign there at one time I seen that they have to boil because of the outboard motors and skidoos and that's been taking place all these years. Iron Arm.
Okay. Yeah,
Even
Mike.
flights. Seaplane.
Water might look clean, but it's not treated.
Yeah, that's
Anytime if it's surface water, you should always boil it. But those are really excellent points. But those are some of the things that we're going to study and discuss, like in the project.
Ang kunin niyo istimaw niya bas bago niyo jadi usag nus na biya. Kiba atso muka jida mahta yo ami wako macha. Muga ba chigo usag no yo. Kwa kuna cha sika sta yo. Muya cha ba mita na imonyo.
Yeah. Nagatahan na kanyo Mike is shot na Joyce Lake. Call it ma. 자한 치나가노 자한 치시소노 저가지 내지 해노치 자한 취득노 last year 내다 미어든 미언 just like the 그가 mining projects 아게 the 어디 consultation 아게 와위 the 니시니 마스테야 가도 도마스 와위 the tanda stage
Okay, niya.
work stock as a gaja
Aha.
tahan
Na
niya
tanda wa suku sa ako niya bechoy sa diagnose. Na tato ko nuka main. Ako to chay suku. Ako joy na to sa no. Sada. Na wa asuku na napi. Ayo aja bechoy to sa na. Asihaji wan to sa no kumay wa je. Suki to tagno ya bes. Wa mo suki to tagno. So ba ti ko es tan chas ka no diagnose.
na ko to no wa chage gina men oza na ka to no upgrade we pesen ji bas to skas to no jitan das go na tamen na ya ga das na bio udnamas ni bi men anyo chage gin utna no ni abs wa water in da drinking water kyo da distribution network na stui ji shu de mes ni ka chitasas ni laboratory ka do say de no ni i china bi men no go ka i de sama organoos ni report mi on chana bi mo de gona ni mi jado na tum ji de gona skada da askish na ni cha mi on na ga do no upgrade cha ni mi on nehem I cha mi on nehem ne bio now cha ga but 25 years 30 years she da de no cha mi sao no chu na triple hinagan na capacity na uday pa na da cha jims to discuss to no now si da no and do no now go yeah mion at the witamis nebes usamo kishuhan wani moga precautionary man tasbiti discuss to no di go schoj isho jari jaji jagamo usamo ki haj isho ne bio go mi na go to itamis and demos go ne why Nui tomo bego Jacob ju sama tauta Jacob ini show dagno an jaji nei hati usiu jaji bugdo bego bishuma men jitan da ju ta ashkum ni bna bego bishuma men jitan da dan jestu sandik tam zama musun jaswini yusin da kat meg bego da hano idas da pasti bikes kat nei hat tam anga ga tuida na anga nei hamaga such especially da chabi George guijoji wali sak cham masao da apna sunduk go jine hegno minaj no jija shagigan shagigan kenda ja natta tishugo ja hadonanich ashugonich jibamnani mesh nattam jindu seidani go jaga jima jaga mudat kat juishamos ni was ja kagar ga Noël André que moguchi na moguchi ci stores ni mashkat ni bawas ni mashkat tukuni da wish da nuzuga da tukunu da shibis tukuni da wish mash wish tukuni da go na tamen do said mana jin do said mana ni ya kachga so da chichbam ya ni ya chichbam nuzu mu chichbam ja ish kayo ja chichbam ya bache ja chichbam pas same out da tamen chidada ni badani oh, we were talking about the water. Like I was explaining to them that what chinan chintuapo no jo utayban no chimoji winibasa ja. You want to see them, Aaron? Yeah. Chinan chintuapo. Kono chuja jai mio na utayban no. Jai to hanao da ja jidada no aspesa miaz. Explain to them.
This thing?
Kapay kuno ano kita hita kuno ano pi. Kasi das was wir aber mit ich. Wenn wir das
Getting diarrhea from her concern is why is that
Tukunan proof, like is there proof na be asagot?
All right. So just a brief explanation of like where the funding came from for the plan. Back in 2018, Quebec government introduced a Quebec water strategy and water plan, which looked at protecting and restoring aquatic, like the habitat, but also looking at prioritizing First Nation communities and the action plans or the ideas started by the First Nation communities to manage their own water resources.
George Mo Quebec 2018 ni GGB daw is na tayo water Quebec water strategy and water plan. So kita i lakes ki ba usagay na ibisa. So protect to that ki restore to that man namasa CBC namasa CBC good na water. So ba mi una.
So Naskapi Nation applied and we got 535,000, so just over $500,000 to design and design a plan for 3 years, a 3-year plan to design and protect the drinking water and watershed around the Naskapi Nation.
Okay, yeah. Stop na chigas naman si chigas na no doada no da shuna chosmane jange wa ko no strategy ya Quebec water strategy 535,000 chigas no jadi stop na is 2025 2028 is jadi mina ko de no da jena bi no kana shage gna shage gna no da udas tiu simna na ta ko da yos.
So for the timeline, because it was a 3-year plan, so we've broke it down into 3 phases. The first one, the phase 1 we're in, was mostly community consultation, talking to elders, leadership, community members, and understanding what the priorities were, so we can like design a plan. Phase 2, that's going to start next year or in 2026, 27, would be developing a detailed protection plan, implementing it, hiring the people, training them, and also have knowledge and awareness campaign. Similarly, last year would be monitoring of the plan to make sure that things are working properly, and also more awareness and knowledge and awareness campaign.
Timeline into stop na phase 1, 2, 3. When 2025 ke 26 jadi anggo wi tama goya gwa consultation hada wa tama gono action plan water action plan ke jadi develop to tama then is now gonna action plan. Phase 2 next year that 2026 2027 this year get 2027 jadi source water protection plan jadi develop to tama yingi ba jadi plan jadi I'm going to check it. I'm going to say the no then Jason I could do the no what in the beam no. Jadi skut morgen no service ke jadi wawi temas na tum jadi mina gede no chagi no. Kena deki ba CBC jadi anca hadona is kena da cheyoji na no juga do no kuma mo ina no. Aku tahu is beach na beam no. Guna phase 3 2027 2023 8 저지 나트 monitor mas na godo mas na water action plan to goda. Shkid mo gano chke natum 저지 campaign to mas 저지 wa wait mas natum. Mogoda Naskapi radio kama Facebook kama gwa Chicago yakni.
So one of the key things that we're going to do with in the action plan is a source water protection plan. Basically, the goal is to safeguard the nation's drinking water resources and look at what threats might be, and look at the threats. So some of the key things is you identify what the source for the drinking water is. You look at what type of potential threats might contaminate the water. You assess them and prioritize what risks are higher versus lower, and then you come up with a plan and you implement and monitor it.
Na source water protection plan to maha to say to know that to give me na to it no say then do was me na nabi chagi give me no yeah to various threats key steps to give a chagani o to chagamoda to be no na to it no to na to say to mo jagan me am to mi na ga dao ne himo ni na chagi give me no 자가 자가 그나이 내가 이ตุ고 있어요. 와시시나 제가 자진 도 세데 그노 못 나가 노 네피 자진 도 세데 그노 메나 그도 좀 아마 이 자지 세그노 전에 비탄 다 데이터가 locate like I just explained to them like the wildlife. So we found one time beaver were trying to block the culverts upstream on Lake Peter, and I asked local hunters to trap them. They did. I think they trapped a few times, 4 or 5 beavers there. So it would have contaminated the drinking water. So we did it in time. So can you go back? I didn't finish the. Muangkan na assess risks. So sige ba do say to mo ang kaya wawit man na miyam jaji miunaga jagaji michaga mo chna bi mino ja jaji do say to mo natam miyam washish kaya maki chishuk jaji miunaga natam na chna bi mino chitugunda bego na steme jo chimon jawadan last year nedan na chipaho shagi ga chimot na kan go ji sagat go ang
So this is an example of what the source water protection plan would look like. You identify, so the drinking water for Naskapi Nation is Peter Lake. So you kind of draw a circle around it. And so that's your starting point. And you look at what kind of threats are there in regards to like what can contaminate that water. Once you have an idea of that, you pick a bigger circle. What is the next thing that can contaminate? And I think
Or can you, let's say, I have a question, right? Let's say that I mean, you look at Peter Lake,
yeah,
how far can the contamination travel?
it all depends what type. Yeah, it's what type of contamination and what the impact in. It's a simple example. Like Peter is like that's the water body that you're trying to protect. So then you start in concentric circles. So the next one up is Lake Hanas, because Lake Hanas is feeding into Peter Lake. So you have to. The next step is to make sure that there is no contamination happening in that lake, and then you keep making the circle bigger. And to your question, it also depends on the watershed. If other lakes are flowing into this, then yes, the contamination will come down. But if Tara, the contamination that happens in Tara flows into a different direction, then it won't come into this lake. But that's part of.
Those phases.
No, they're just circles. So you look at when you're looking at when you're looking at a source water protection plan, you're looking at what the source is. That's your primary goal to protect. So that would be just around Kawa, right? So then you make a bigger circle. What is the next thing? So in this case, Lake Hanas is important because if you contamination there, it flows into this lake. Then you take a bigger circle and say, okay, what's after that? So that's how you keep looking at it.
That's why I asked earlier, connecting those, like this first, I didn't know you were gonna, but it expands.
Yeah.
It expands. No
So the
matter,
farther
regardless.
you are, its highest priority is closer, then
Yeah,
farther you are
regardless,
becomes-
not just around here, but beyond that, because in the future, we won't be here, but it will be our grandkids.
Correct.
So we need a report. I'd like to see a report. What's been the so far and in the future? Because they feed
Absolutely, and that's part of the risk assessment, right? So you look at what the potential threats are. So you look at what the potential threats are, and it's possible that if there was an industry here that could potentially contaminate, then that becomes one of the things that you need to monitor in the future.
Yeah,
So
because
that's part of the plan.
my concern was what's feeding this lake and Lake Hannah and Pitskapau and so on. So that's one of the things that really needs to be on the table. People need to realize we need to be uh, notified what's been going on. You know, we need to be notified what's been going on, like the reports and
Correct.
stuff like that, because that's why we're here.
Yeah,
You want us to give you a feedback, and that's it.
yeah.
This is not about arguing over things, debating. It is, we're looking at the grassroots. So it is what it is, you know. So we have to do that.
So my question here would be,
So there was somebody, a local, Paul Makush, who was on live with me, and he was just explained to me, the contamination from our source. Na ngiyumanagos pandemic na wawitam niya sa gigano za Pamakush sa gigano uda may basho tigon. Natamata tisugoni. 지다드그노 안가 big action plan. 지다드그노 너때문에 티시고니 주소 관이 주셔자고 야 바쇼디고 갖다다 진짜 비만스니 뭐 주의다는 배고 와 꾸이드마 이 나가드그노 안나 진짜 비면 점묘원 저지 야버냐 nehem they have filters to insan 미자도 is 4-5 stages to have filtration 야버냐 nehem Mga ito ko dyan, napyo, natamot naman, itasama na niya ko itas napyo. Kat pata sa haganot ni report. Laboratory yan. Kat pata sa haganot ni miyon sa nabi mo ni dugunan nato. Ito magunan. O itanan, chawitamits kaga miyon napyo. Chawitamits. Kama na ko sa show. Chawitamits. Ito niya, Okay.
Saya hoping piwa. Ang ulo ay siya tawas kasi. Piano ba ang ulo na? Siwa itu mudan saya hiya itu dan ya. Siwa. Dah, kami catu. 50 or 70 years yo. I'm really down with.
Yes. He's talking about the effects of mining, contaminating the watersheds.
Hello.
Ima yabits na chitukan bego kap michat agwata besenta uta masknach. Mas tiayusiga na mi masoju mas tiayusiga. Inian man teispataw ampataw. No chicho da chispio stopuna na puna de da. Masonia juji ya asapin mia. Mas tiayusiga na gani da. Atta jesu ibn tinabiminach. Chachagusti kunibin. Ang gusto ka mi. Ina ko tayo magnot ni papadali. Kuna ko tayo mo ni.
This elder mentioned when there's the effects of the mining, when they did a blast, it goes up in the air, and then the wind will blow it this way, and then it lands on lakes during the winter time as well. So that's another thing that needs to be monitored seriously.
So that was my question. What do you think are the key threats to Peter Lake?
Calcium. We have it really.
The mine. Okay. Okay, calcium na maskna ka bis na ginawa ni Shutagan. Sa abjitamis ni jaga juga badage. Ya bitin jaji majaga madaw na bim na yun. Tata tispius seeds. At chamma tata tispispio. Go. Sangkan na when I say that na eh. Bisko na mining na tatastio. Na taman tutumas ni studies, environmental baseline studies ni tutumas. Tutumas na ni duijaz ni. Uta upisko. Sisi kumoto da chokoya jaga babika na iagota. Na ayuticha. Na aquabasats. Go na taman no ito mo nispadan na ni aquabadage. We jaga si suk. Batamas ni mas ngayon.
I don't know if it was a year ago, 2 years ago, that they spread the calcium from here all the way to the airstrip of the airport in town. Like it was everywhere. And then you see the John Lake that goes into this other lake. That's where we used to go fishing when we were young. And I don't know how much. I mean, there was a lot. You just see all this white stuff on the road. And then again, when the grader plows, it goes on off the road, and then that river. Because me and my brother looked at the pipe. There was already big holes in there and it's cracking. I don't know if it's from that. I don't know. But
Sorry, what was?
that calcium. They spread it on the road so there'd be no dust. So it sinks into. That's the one I was talking about earlier. Those covered pipes were frozen, and that's what they used to thaw it out, and then it goes all drains into our drinking water.
Okay.
So that's another thing that needs to be looked at.
Anything else?
Somebody just messaged me. Taunia one namisamak. Ako bata siya bejuza. Yabit niya jaji majago mo daw na biyo. Maskno ispispiso ka tabana na basi. Ko bata. It's more da siya kikin to jaji majago mo daw na yabeju. Kaya kumanja noa yabeju. Tama siya siya kikin is. Tapos si tono anda sta sa pas ni siya da. Hangga so yung na ko tayo ito siya kumanja hits. One was supervisor manager do that in the construction site.
Is there any comments online about threats to Peter Lake? Okay. So one of the next key components is like once you have your plan, you need to monitor it to make sure that the plan is working properly. And to do that, you have to do some data collection. You have to take samples. You have to collect all the data, analyze it, and then evaluate it to make sure that it's working properly or not. And if we need to make adjustments, we can adjust that. So monitoring, data collection, and analyzing it, very important.
Ang ganyan, key components na action plan to ganun siya. Monitoring ka adaptive management. Monitoring niyan na so sinaga to ito ganun. Kaya so sige ba miupit na water protection plan to kada. Kaya so shoot na ganun. Dada jimisa de ganun tum jagal. Miya so understate ganun na bi. So understate ganun na bi. Na utach so sige ganun so jaga miyaga. Jaga angolin. Data collection here, so shoot na ganun. Misa de ganun jagal. Not yeah. Judge into say the evaluation of it. Progress reports. Reports are the Tuguniji. Judge Tuguniji reports not them. Judge Mu that now source water protection plan. Chigado Taganoan. Develop Kudo Tuganisha. Judge not them beach. It is in Mu Beach.
Pretty good. What we're hearing, the monitoring, data collection, and analyzing it, like the evaluation. So they'll be reviewing progress reports to ensure that the source water protection plan remains effective and responsive to evolving challenges. That has also have to be translated into Naskapi because of the elders who probably take time to read. Be something to do for them as well. So they can probably have inputs in there too. And this be another way.
So the goal is that most communications would be translated. So if we're having this conversation right now, Billy's helping with that translation. Any written document would be translated.
I do my best, Judge. Whitman, Ash Whitman, it's that chaos. I'm gonna. Ang gano'n ito na monitoring namin. Sinagot ito ganun na together na source water protection plan. Yeah, data collection. Masyado ganun. Tum sa wala. Say ito ganun kaya bisa. Ang ganun ito na. Go. Masyado niya jo challenges. Ang ganun na may na ako pa das kaya ito kas. Yeah, manjanoa. Kaya mining. Ang ganun. Hey, Ben wanted me to say it in English. He said the dust and the development of the community are both potential pollutants.
So
So that could be in the action plan. So that na sweet mo chokan masyadam niya. So absi tiganoon. So absi tiganoon stimuno.
So what we're going to need is collaboration and communication. That work go along together, hand by hand, and that's the only way we'll see more results. People participating, like everyone in the community. Doesn't have to be in Naskapi. It's people that live here too. You know. So
So how do we make sure that the protection plan would succeed? One of the key things is training and capacity building. So the people who are hired to do work on the protection plan would get source water protection training, hands-on training, how to do sampling from water treatment plant operators, learning how to do environmental monitoring, taking sample like water, soil, and air samples, generally water and soil. But also because they're out in the field, they need to have some safety skills and also learn about communication, leadership skills, so they can communicate the information that they're collecting with the community in a more transparent and easy way.
Ima joit ma na ma wagda jai. Chan jish to sonya jish to mo. Wasa anga na gonna wag no ji. Water first in a dayo. Shagi gonna jin and to say them as namasha and to say that I was just explaining to them what you did in the past with the community members, like about yeah, just get more was like so you to such an at the one. Angu ya bichi data gadwa wa action plan chu shkut magnu chwanji source water protection to wada plan. Taji shkut magnu chwas taji to say that na piu shagi gina kana utaiban anu jasi was mena katawaji ya bichi say that gnut taji shkut magnu chwanji ya bichi na gatoi gnut na utaiban environmental monitoring methods again environmental monitoring taji na gatoi gnush shagi gina ya C or the gnut and to say the gnut kaya shkut moya taji shagi mina taji guichat taji shkut moji chi was to sanot go ya bicha first aid ya bicha ji to need to get travel safety like yeah jigiba mi na go imi should one the sija to say that shagi gini shgamaga mashkat gamaga leadership communication jigiba ni gan shkat one jagayo ke jiwa shu itmajat ke jinda usage shu met one imonio.
And the final component is that, like, the other main component that we heard from a lot of elders and community members was awareness and like knowledge exchange in the community. So the goal is to inform the community about the drinking water sources and how individually, like what we do, how it impacts the nature.
Na kukuna gnishina matoyo wasaju watiacha ashimpi juteban. Na kutukuna anda cha 20 years ago and developed you to design you to go. Ngoji natum ji bas na kutai dan. Jish kutamatan ji chanji me na kutai dan. Mutukuna ke she mi wasni. Muchai e mio e menagoni anakutai to go. Na nuchu uteban got to 25 years, 30 years she died to go. Chaji beat. Aspitacia hota uses ke mijava hangaji dadunut. Gua knowledge awareness campaign. Chaji to gadi ba seidmon ke chui to morganus wanji. Chine bimino aship beat ke chute banu ke bada ke na shaki kan tanda was beat na chine bimino. Ke shindo state ke not. Ke chaji pa to hosta wanji chaji ito hanau na no jijan chip bio. Ni pinu snya chi bi de no na ga shi de no cham me so cha e me na gunda e me na gna cha chi to hana onda cha ji wa de go na wa me na jo ma to yo ji shi ma shi no sa ya ba cha chi to ga no jo sa ji shi mo no mi won cha mi o to so ni na ya ba cha chi ne chi to ha na onda ni cha che yo ta cha ji chan boy to mo na te ba ni na ga de ta
Tujo no ito ha guys.
J to have cham myo snu myo chao ta ma chma chma dao chang si dai dai dao.
Jibitsanta yo bahtigon. Kaya isna kunja misa tu isen dat isa pihtagus na napi. That's ay pieces ni isna kunna. That nakahti si yam yago jwa chano. Kaya kutu kisaban. Ko misa tu isi isu utag no isaban. Kuna pia chu iwikus na ta. Sagna dat pihtagus kat isi miu na kwa sa ta. Mugiabet kuisaitan no jan to honda stagno ni da chutai panas. Aga kataguan may Chicago.
So some of the things that activities that we want to do within the community is water treatment plant tours. A lot of people were open to going, and you have a brand new treatment plant, so go and visit the plant and see what they do, because a lot of people are not aware of how the water is filtered, what are the steps that are involved in it. Also engage the youth. So we want to do some hands-on water-related workshops with the school kids. Community presentations about the source water, which is Peter Lake, what are the potential threats to the water, the water treatment process, and then like they're talking about the source water protection plan, just so that the community is aware of what are the different steps that we're doing and how it all impacts the drinking water.
Kadutagnisha jaji memna gitu jaji itu haga na tau taipan jaji tordo da guyak ka na china bimino jaji oi to ma guyak na china bimino tanda wa chibit na amnia hona bi memna chagi gnamino ka jawadan ni threats mem jaji mama shigat na bi o taipan mena ga ishuit ma ko washi jaji ta wa pasti tu apna shun na ta kama apachitoas kena china bimino watershed na ko den china bimino Kata beat na sa chiwit maguna on me dan twitch ane habis na process na pi na bistagud na today banas mi ja twitch ne habio kuchamio go water contamination impact on water. I'm going to have to na pi oh it does hagan source water protection plan habs should develop to do this what we just saw na bawa I said
Absolutely. And like the water treatment plant operators are super excited to take part with that as well, give the community tours so they can, everybody knows what the steps are. And because a lot of people still don't trust the water coming from the tap, and people are drinking more bottled water rather than the water from the tap, which is just clean.
you besawan masujaitu menastis judgment to day by new yo. Tuis meita muya judgment yo. Moga mogna za to day miwo sa. Cha witemis ya machaka mocha. Cha witemis na no jihas wana bio. Anga miwo cha miwo na menanus. Na temen temen anguna iya na anguna imo yani. Iyan za mian pahabiji kutskola kutsko pahabiji the usage anga precaution ya tutumas jagma me jagma ji ha treat ma go now za chius max de bimo jagma me jagma anga mo gane precaution tutumas ni same o jistu sanan mi jado ne jitu ne mi ish wahid gnut na mi pahabiji kutskola wahidas kat kamak chimbit da mechanic chagani speech pump chimbit na da uteban kat kat big beach anga cha tutumis cha tutumis mugne cha tshada in piuja utnamis putach chitshad du say de gnu jita de gnu mionatum ka choi de gnu machagam ga mia chachimananus anga ne precautionary.
Another thing I would like to mention, years ago, I used to work as a labor for a DPW. We checked all the pipes, okay, including the septic tanks, and we did a cleaning on the main line because people were getting sick, too much manganese in the system. So what happened was we had to use torpedoes, and we started from where the church is standing. There's a fire hydrant that's the one we used. And when it went around just half of the community, I guess, it took when that thing popped into the pump house, took 18 minutes, just thick black. It looked like oil that came out for 18 minutes. They timed it, and it took us one whole week to clean the system. And when I boil water, there's something floating when I use the tap water. This is what used to happen back in the day. That could be a new system, but we must not forget the old pipes. Those need to be cleaned. Because I mentioned this in the Naskapi for them to know. Nu ito mo siya iyo da snatcha ka na himaji sudeban no da we be sosas. Kut skos ka na ihuag noch. Menta kut no ka ka jisna ka si. Me wasita jo antio. Misa tuan tia husus ka ko niyo. Kut ka si ma meet ka ko. Ko ako na ni ka na himaji tao. Ni uska jo taiban. Mokum tuijida magno so siya bes kut sko so tanda sa gut sen bimno. Kiba chiba sa mo tapiwan. Kuchi tu kuna ne shinia ka pa jistats nats kanto hitas taguses wa to samjich. Ako ba tabi tagnos. Kwat chibagno na sko. Kwat chibi tagno si napi. Kwat tada isukos. Kwat tuipit na. Na shini wa ibisen. Iya tustu baun. Isuhada yanaw dat sa ajahas dat ispesui piu mi wa iwi gujis nagan. Kaya spetshu mi jibis no. Kwat minuas kujibih taganos. Jaga baik ajahas tas mag nisuyo asu nekitsibishoni abat nutsania. Kwat miogam beach. Ko baik mnastagna chichibaik no nabi. Kung na niya beso iti dapat taganos na nanjukut skos. Agun kahan niya beso jamyo tu taganos oni pis. Jagut jibih tagano.
Just for a quick governance, like the oversight would be provided by the chief and council. The person that we will hire, the environmental water officer, that will work alongside the environmental officer, wildlife staff to do their task. The goal is to have clear roles and responsibilities so that it's easy for decision-making authorities. Regular communication between the the water officer and management and leadership, and the technical oversight would be also provided by the water plant operators. Just skip that. Huh? Oh, that's it.
Okay, with
They will work together with you and wildlife.
okay, okay. So me amuna tutuguno the water action plan. Inya na use my hands na ja so chitatamach. We built to so environmental water officer jay to one. You Georgia somehow ni me abo to sama. Kumya environment and no jiman. That's wildlife. Now, you guys, the mishkwach story. The organization's responsibilities, additions, and making authority. Like, think about Jesus to so. Because he actually at now is to say that when the baby got and the chinan can use mahana. Jadi wawi chigat. Jadi wawi chigat bruiser ga utaibat. Utaibat niya nagatay jadi wawi chigat.
Jogoso.
All right. So the next steps in this process is what we're doing right now, validation with the community, and then we'll be submitting it, refining the priorities, submitting it to the council, and working on a detailed plan for phase 2 and 3. And part of that would be developing a job description, posting it on the nation's website, hiring the individual, training, and then continue adaptation of the work plan based on the results that we're seeing.
그 미나 자건자도 뜨거노 미나 장고는 저 지와위 뜨거노 그 discussions 지와 should not council. Jahan the one answer council. Did we already talked to council? We already talked to council about this X-Men.
Yeah, like I'm talking to Nathan.
Yeah. So Tauda Nathan kutugus jaji say that's na here's my hands. Get you out, say you. Ku so jigiba minas do say the gunot then jish sanot then jish nagat na objectives like then jidi dagat council ga we design organization and action plan jatugat jita to sound that it no work plan phase 2 get 3 jatugat to sound that we be the no 그래서 이시 또 셋네 원 네뷰저 시나그레이다 돈 지가스난다 지가스나면서 스토프나 이시베자 또 소뇨 나 조좀 하자 지비스 아그도 고집이 고아 아무 저지 또 뜨거노지 아버지 operations guide 아그는 전 제시나가다 나 송 operations guide 제시나가다 노드비 그 나뜸 저지 또가다 샤부도비 또 송. Work plan you do not. So you give a to take a note not to show work plan. Real time implementation judge to the note.
Keith. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? Is there any questions online?
Yeah. The main line, could that be also cleaned in the future?
The what?
The water line, the main water line.
Yes, that would be like you can talk to Aaron about that as well. That will be part of their maintenance.
Goy the squajamo. So jet na hiwag no na kutsko na kanay ho jisu da bego. Maja kwajimo da go na winbash. Na shaguj chicha iya utay pa na o atsukus na da bego sos na mis iya kutsko ja. Kwata da isa tabi da bijo hois. Kuna na kunan the jine hiwag no da. Kumaja kwajimo yo na winbasha. And it would be good if all the chief and council would be present in these, especially these important issues, that arise in the community. I think that's important because this elder here mentioned that why isn't the leader here, the chief here? So I cannot answer that question. He has to ask.
I was happy to see that Jeremy, Nathan, and Billy are here, but like hopefully more people can join.
Yeah, and to prepare the next meeting, like at least a month ahead, so people are aware of it, so we can remind each other as well, So that's another thing, because usually it's the last minute and nobody never has a time to prepare themselves. A lot of stuff happens like that, so that's more important because they're responsible too, as we are. So everybody's
Absolutely.
responsible.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you guys for coming out. And thank you for all the feedback.
Samo, če to bi samo dal.